All right, what's everybody? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Los Angeles Chronicles, episode 29. Happy New Year! This is the first episode for the year, and we're gonna do something a little bit different at this time. It's I know like the theme is from L.A., like who is from L.A., and this is Los Angeles, but we're gonna go to South Carolina right now. Talk to like a real person I grew up with, so it's like rules are made to be broken, right? So this is my guest Robin right here coming from. Was it Dillon, South Carolina? So, if you want to say what's up.
Hello, and technically it's
Yeah.
still Marion. I pay taxes out of Marion County.
Yeah, I'd say Marion because if like you know me, like I grew up from Marion, so we can represent Marion right now, and then we can talk about some cool stuff right now. So I've been looking forward to this one for a while. So yeah. We've been talking about this for a while. So yeah, Happy New Year. Do you got any
So
like
do you know what you missed? There was a high-speed chase on Main Street in Marion last week.
No, you didn't tell me. So like, if you want to fill me in real quick, so.
I just saw it on Facebook. There was like they were posting pictures of like a car exploded in the middle of the road at like 3 a.m. on Main Street. And it was
On
the
New
result
Year's
of
Eve
chase.
or was it New Year's
It
Eve?
was New Year's Day night.
Yeah, but see, New Year's Day, that's like most of the people here they're home with their families. So I guess I'm just jumping to conclusions. Like people were drinking, and then that happened later on that night.
From what I gathered, it was a stolen car that they tried to pull over, and whoever was driving it had warrants issued. And like when I tell you, it crashed in like a ball of fire on Main Street, and I was like, you know, it'd be nice to be recognized for something that didn't have like judicial circumstances behind it.
And it was on YouTube, or how did you hear about it? It was social media.
Tanya Brown. Tanya Brown.
I remember that name. Did she work at Turner's
From
or the
WPDE
no,
TV.
oh yeah, the news lady. Breaking news! This just in: a ball of fire.
So that's like the only. Yeah, that's exactly what it was. Like it was like photos, and there were like people doing videos, like check on your family, and I'm like, who was out on Main Street in Marion at 3 a.m?
And hopefully everybody's okay, right? Or any injuries?
I don't know. I'll link it to you, but that's like the only news I have to report.
Yeah, I'll check it out, but it's making us look bad, right? No, that Main Street's a real happening place to be right now, right? The last I heard, there's all these news.
Well, I don't know. I have
No, the last I heard, there's new restaurants, and you know they're trying to what's the word? Not restore it, but just make it come alive again, right?
gentrify.
Yeah, I don't use that word. So every time I hear that word gentrify, it sounds like we're gonna get like 4 different genders, like genderify. And I know Marion's not down with that, right?
I think about
Yeah, the thing.
Chasing Amy.
Huh?
I think about Chasing Amy.
That one was a good movie, right?
Where the guy stands up and he like calls Star Wars like gentrification.
Why? Because they don't discriminate against robots, right? No, you're missing it. In LA, it's like these robots that deliver food, and it looks like R2-D2 from Star Wars.
And how much does that cost you to get like a $7 combo?
I don't know how much it costs.
And then you look guilty like you've done it. You look guilty like you've done it. You're like, oh.
No, I didn't do it. But I see them all the time. It kind of still freaks me out. But it's I don't know how much it costs, but it saves the restaurants money. But I don't think that's reason enough to have like robots that deliver food, because that's taking away all the Uber Eats drivers' jobs too.
Agreed.
So
All
yeah,
right, so how's Lyft going?
it's good. Last night was kind of weird, but I did deal with some drunk people last night, and we went to the Getty Museum. That's a famous museum. It took forever to get there, but the reason I did that was to challenge myself. But then I was all over the place last night. Like I'm talking about like Long Beach and near Inglewood and downtown LA, Hollywood. Yeah. So, do you have any goals for 2025?
To be mean, because I think I'm too nice of a person and I get run over. So, like, 2025 is going to be like the years of boundaries and just, you know, just not letting people run over me. Like my dad told me, I'm too nice for people that don't do anything for me.
Maybe I think it's good that you're nice, but just I'd say kind of back off a little bit this year and see how it goes. But not be mean. You want to be mean, or you want to be nice?
I don't want to be mean. I want to establish boundaries and people respect them. And you sometimes cannot get people to respect your boundaries unless you are a little mean.
And then work on saying no, probably. That was my thing too.
It's good if the people you're saying no to respect it. When you say no, it's a statement. It's not a questionable argument.
Yeah, I mean it sounds like a good thing to work on. Because then you build
Right.
like a mutual respect between the people that you deal with too.
Right. So what are you working on?
Like I said, my New Year's resolution was to quit eating gummy bears. And so far, like, been doing a pretty good job. So,
You just went cold turkey?
well, like, I did have a good friend that made me like a very thoughtful gift of Chex Mix and Spice Drops and M&Ms. And I did sell out, and I ate a few of the Spice Drops, which was like gummy. So I've already like sold out. If you want to get critical, if you want to get technical. No, I think
You're like tapering down.
I think we
You're
can do it.
tapering down.
I think we can do it. We gotta have the organic or the whatever.
So have you tried switching to a different candy, or you're just
No,
like
like
substituting one thing with another?
I think I told you about there's Russell Stover's thing that they make for old people, and I found it at CVS, and I tried it, and I was not feeling it. They made it with the
Was it
with the
sugar
stevia.
free though?
Yeah, it was the sugar free with the stevia, and I was like, man, this is whack. You may as well just like go all out and eat like the sour lifesavers if you're gonna eat the gummy. If you're gonna eat a bunch of junk, you know. So.
We'll find you a suitable alternative, and you're only quitting them because of the beef gelatin in them.
Yeah, I didn't even know about that, and they were talking about that, and I'm no expert. You probably know more than me about that, right? About the gelatin or the.
Oh yeah. Like it was made from beef gelatin. I mean, there is some animal composition in it, but how do you feel about marshmallows? Because I think there are marshmallows. So you're still getting the gummy aspect, but the flavor's just not there.
So wait, what's in marshmallows? I haven't had one of those since we took a kind of vacation to the river or something, and we roasted the marshmallows. Did they?
Did you make s'mores?
I think we tried to. It was like it's just a bunch of sugar, right? It's just like
Yeah. It's
I don't
too
know.
much.
Yeah, because I'm not working it off like at Amazon anymore. So now I'm just oh yeah, so I'm focusing more on the slacklining now. I don't know if I told you about that.
Well, you told me I needed to try it. But
Yeah, that was.
So, do you set the course up,
Yeah, you tie it to the.
or is the course already set up?
No, you have to bring it out there and tie it between two trees.
So you just venture out into the forest in LA.
Yeah. And tie between two trees and balance yourself. Yeah.
No, I'm interested in it, but I didn't know if it was like somewhere you like went, like, oh, I'm going to the slackline course every day.
That's a good question. I've heard about people doing it, but I've never seen anybody else but me do it, except for like the person that taught me.
Well, where's that person at, or you just aren't in the same area anymore?
We're still cool, but we don't. I mean, she had a kid, and I give her. If somebody has a baby, I give you your space, and you're taking care of your baby, or whatever, So. But yeah.
So are you still skateboarding?
No, that was my goal for last year, was to do the skateboard thing and get pretty good, and then I was like, oh yeah, I already gotten that injury, that hip thing, and then that was it for that. So then I decided to. Oh, go ahead.
At least you're trying to be more like active and stuff. You're not like, oh, my goal is to watch all the episodes of Game of Thrones.
Have you seen Game of Thrones? Or?
I couldn't get into the books, and I'm an avid reader, but they were like so dry. Like, I got through maybe a quarter of the first book, and there was like major incest going on, and somebody got pushed off of a tower. And I just, I lost interest in it because I don't want to have a whiteboard to keep up with everybody's names. And then I watched a few episodes at a friend of mine's house, and I was like, oh, so they just be doing it all the time.
But is the style good? I've never seen it. Is the acting and directing pretty good for what it is? Or
you're basing this off of somebody that's seen 1.5 episodes
on
a bootleg. So,
it was bootleg.
It just seems like it was like overly. Yeah, it was overly sexualized to me, but I don't care anything about that.
I mean, I know it's popular. People watch it, so. You've never even seen
it. It was just too. Like, were you ever into like The Hobbit or like Lord of the Rings or anything?
I've never even seen the whole thing. Like, not even one episode.
The Lord of the Game of Thrones books were written like that, where they were like so dry.
It's about the kid with the glasses and the.
That's Harry Potter. You don't talk about Harry Potter. I have a Harry Potter tattoo.
You do?
Yes, I have a Harry Potter tattoo, but you can't say anything because you got a Wu-Tang Clan tattoo.
Yeah, but can I ask you, like, where's your tattoo? Is it on your back or like?
It's on my back. It's on my back.
I didn't even know you had tattoos at all.
Oh, well, you sound like my boyfriend a couple of months ago. I have 5 tattoos, and he couldn't even name where I have any of them, so.
Well, if he doesn't see them, then.
they're there, okay, Malcolm. They're there.
Yeah, they're not going anywhere. No, I'm in laser surgery right now. You don't want to do that because it's you have to keep on going back.
What are you getting lasered off? That tattoo Richard Turbeville gave you?
No, that was that's the cartoon I made up myself, so nobody else has it. No, that's the one that was like a chest tattoo, and it's like, take it like a man. You have high pain tolerance. No, I can't do it. She's actually Russian, or yeah, the laser surgery lady is Russian. I can't do it, huh?
I didn't even realize that you had a chest tattoo.
Well, it looks like Old Dirty Bastard. Like when you open up the CD, and when you open up the CD, he had a tattoo that said "Old Dirty Bastard." Oh, so I won't forget my name. So.
Like, what was the justification behind that tattoo at the time?
Hey, I'm the one asking the questions, Robin. Come on. You're like, this is Robin's podcast. It's like, I don't care about skateboarding. I was like, hey, y'all, I want to like introduce Robin. Like we go like way back from like what 25 years, 30 years. Help me out. I known you since like 9th grade, 8th grade, 1995 or something, right? I don't know who's counting.
We were actually bullied by the same people in the same family.
See some common denominator.
Yeah, we were bullied by two kids in the same family. So Malcolm had his bully, and I had my bully.
All right. And then you became the bully. No? No, I became a bully later on. I'm not
No,
proud of
I
it.
didn't become the bully. I even the playing field. I even the playing field. I don't believe in being nasty to somebody for no reason, but I even the playing field. Like you're not going to be ugly or be nasty to somebody on my watch because that's just wildly inappropriate. And if it's ever done to you, you don't want it to be done to anybody else.
Yeah, that's a good way to be. But at the same time too, like we went to high school and I had my anger and my depression and bipolar, and I took that to school with me. So I want to talk about like we had like a real oddball group of people in high school, didn't we?
They're still odd. They're still odd.
I mean, you know, like in the morning when you're waiting for the bell to ring, and we just ended up together. Like,
everybody had their bench that they stood around. Everybody had the bench. You had like the weird kids like us, and then you had the preppy kids, and then you had like everybody had their cliques. So like you always knew that you gathered around your own bench.
yeah, I was telling somebody about that a couple of days ago. It's like everybody just has their designated place to go, and like this is our space, and you don't invade people's space for the most part, you know. So it was like we're like the the preppy kid and the jocks and whatever, and then all the like the weird people go here, and then
Well, it was kind of like Hufflepuff. Everybody gets the rest. Like we were the leavings.
But then at the lunchtime
and we all like banded together.
The lunchtime they used to have like the tables, like the long tables, and then they changed it to the. Huh?
I have the round tables, like the octagon shaped tables with the fixed stools and stuff.
Yeah, so then like remember like John Collins, we used to hang out with him, and then we're getting into music together, and what else?
I love John Collins. I still talk to him periodically. He's grown into a very good person.
It's good to hear. Yeah, he got into some directing and some new stuff like that.
Actually, a year and a half ago, John Collins started messaging me, and he apologized to me for like when he went off to college. He was like, when I went off to college, I kind of just like forgot about all my friends, and I want to apologize to you for this. And I was like, John, you were growing up. Like, you can't hold on to everything.
Yeah, that's nothing to apologize for. It's like you change with time and you grow up and do your own thing,
Have you ever had anybody from high school apologize to you for just being a straight up asshole?
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Who was it?
The thing that was cool for me was like the girls that I really liked, and they turned me down, and then later on they were like they didn't really apologize, but they were coming from a different place with it, like maybe we should have gone out or something, and that was pretty cool.
Who are you crushing on in high school, Malcolm? Who were you crushing on?
No, that wasn't Marion. That was different. That was more of like we went into the MySpace era, and I had like a MySpace crush, or like AOL. What was it? AOL chat room person.
Yeah, AOL Instant Messenger. So like, but was it somebody from Marion or like it just?
No, it'd probably be somebody you didn't know. It was more Florence. So. Yeah.
Okay.
For people listening, if you don't know, Marion's a small town. Was it 7,000, 6,000 people? And
yeah.
I tell people stories about Marion out here, and then they don't believe me. And
you gotta deal with it. Yeah.
Yeah, so everybody just knows each other, so. which is cool because like everybody knows you. Like, hey, kind of like I got your back. Because in LA it's like a brutal kind of like nobody cares about you, but in Marion everybody's like really nosy. They know what you do.
Before you do it.
Before you go do it.
Okay, so you told me that you listened to like audio tapes to lose your accent.
We ain't gonna go there. No, like I tried to. It was some stupid book. I still have it, and there's a CD that comes with the book. And then if you listen to the CD, like it's some woman, and she says like, "Y'all," and then here's no, it's something like that. It's like, do you want to go get some rice? Do you want to go get some rice? It's similar to that. And it's all about like vowels and neutralizing the because I do this, I'm a podcast host, right? So I have to like kind of have a what's the word, neutralize like a radio kind of voice. And then see, people judge me, they hear the southern accent and they're like, oh, I'm from LA, yeah, like you don't know what the hell's going on because you just got here and then like you can't survive. And I'm like, no, but I've been here 20 years, you know what I'm saying? So I have to keep on justifying myself as a taxi driver.
Well, it's weird because so I have my customer service voice at work. And
so can you demonstrate a customer service voice?
That's when you like really put on like the Dolly Parton. Hey, honey, how are you doing today?
Oh, I love that.
I'm so sorry you are feeling bad. But
that sounded good.
Yeah, so you have like your customer service persona, and then you have your natural persona. So do you have your like podcast voice and your natural voice? Because even when we talk on the phone,
I'm trying, man.
I don't feel like you have a strong accent.
Okay, yeah, I mean, coming from other people, they said that it's subtler, it comes and goes, and then some people say I sound like really southern, so maybe it depends on whoever's listening. So
well, the trumpet on Charlie Brown is what I get compared to.
Who on Charlie Brown? What?
The trumpet, you know, when they would play like the trumpet when adults were talking, it would just go wah-wah.
Oh yeah.
Wah-wah.
They said you sound like, I don't think you sound like that. That's more of like a boring teacher, you go to sleep. Yeah. So are you there? I wanted to ask you, so you're in the medical field. I want to just ask you, like, I forgot what exactly you do. Like, what's the job title? And we talk about that for a minute, you know?
Well, I'm here, there, and everywhere. I'm a medical assistant, which is different in different states of what you're allowed to do and what you're licensed to do. So in South Carolina, I can work the front end of a doctor's office, which would be like check-in, check-out, billing, and coding. On the back end, I'm licensure to draw blood and do what's called CLIA wave testing, which would be any test that can be performed in the office where you can get results right then, which would be like pregnancy test, et cetera, et cetera. It just really depends on the state, and it really depends on your job role.
So that's pretty much like 2 or 3 different jobs already. So yeah, I know you work a lot over there.
It's the most bang for your buck.
It's what?
It's the most bang for your buck.
Yeah, I mean, I know they're getting their money's worth out of you.
Well, that's when I say the most bang for your buck.
Yeah, that's
your money. That's pretty much exactly what it is.
And but it's in Florence, right? The hospital?
I actually work at a provider's office that is a family practice now. I have worked in larger hospitals in different roles and in the like more complex stuff than family practice.
Well, I want everybody to thank Robin for her service right now.
I know you're like itching to like stuff.
Huh?
Like you don't have to thank me for my service. I know you're itching to ask me like weird stuff.
No, I'm not even going to go into it. I just wanted to like like just point that out there that like that's what you do. Like you have a job that helps people, and we just want to just like establish that right now. You know.
I do like to say I love my job. I love my patients. I love my coworkers. Um, and I've bounced around, back and forth for maybe 2.5 years. When I started in the medical field, I had worked for 12 years in for only making like $10 an hour. And
well, good God.
yeah, so, just, well, bouncing around, you learn skills and you develop like newer horizons, and you just develop new things. And then I went back to the practice I actually left from, and in a different role. But no, I love my patients. I know them by name. I can identify them on the phone, and it does get annoying some days, but that's more like organic interference from what's going on in the office, not versus the patients.
No, that's good. I mean, it sounds like you have enough on the foundation to keep you there. Like you're doing it for a purpose, and you get along with your coworkers, like you said. So, yeah. Like if it gets to the point where you like hate everything about your job, you know it's time to leave. It's like the door closes, another door opens for you. You know what I mean?
I don't hate my job. I absolutely do. Now, if you would have asked me 8 years ago, do you hate your job? I would have said absolutely yes. I hate my job. But now, I really enjoy what I do. And like you get so invested in these people that when you have a patient that passes away, like you get really upset about it. But I know
Yeah, I mean,
you like doing Lyft so you can meet new people and have carry
yeah,
on
but I mean,
conversation.
yeah, it's different. You know, I mean, it sounds like you don't want to get like too much into it and take it home with you.
That does happen. It
Yeah,
does happen a lot.
that's what I'm trying to say. Like your job's like really intense, and then it comes home with you, right? Like
You have to learn how to turn
yeah,
it off.
yeah, turn it off,
Not
man.
everyone's problems are your problems.
That sounds like a difficult thing to do.
I don't necessarily find it difficult. Now, if somebody's having like financial hardship and they can't pay for like medication or like needed care, you feel like you get secondhand guilt. It's not you didn't cause it, and there's absolutely nothing that you can do to make yourself feel better about it, or anything to do to make them feel better. So all you can do is give them the best resources that you have. Like we're going to do this for you, or we can sit down and we're going to try to do this for you.
Okay, like explore like what options they have, and kind of set like what they can do to pay for it and
I mean,
everything.
there are some times where you have to look at people. Yeah, you have to look at people and say, I mean, there's nothing that we can do. We have tried everything, and it's honestly like not necessarily getting needed care. It's like getting medication, and like your insurance isn't going to cover the medication. We are unable to get samples. There's no patient assistance program, and then and it is a really awkward situation where they're like standing there looking at you like, what am I going to do?
But you got like a lot.
Yeah,
You got experience though. Sometimes I mean, you might see the same situation. I mean, the same kind of
yeah.
yeah. But I want to ask you like you're going back to school, right? So I forgot like where you're studying like some kind of big
Oh
test and big
no,
exams.
I didn't go back to school.
It was some kind of test, like some kind of big
Oh no, I
exam.
passed it.
Yeah, you passed like the big. What was it called though? Because I
Yeah,
forgot.
I passed it. It was my CCMA test, but so they didn't score it like 1 out of 100. So you got a number out of like 500, and I scored a 459 out of 500. But when I tell you I obsessed over it,
No,
I
you
had
did.
like
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, like you did.
I was getting up at 3:30 in the morning to study for like 2 or 3 hours before I went to work, and I had like a 6-inch stack of index cards, like highlighters, like the whole thing. I took that more seriously than when I had to pass my cosmetology test. Like it like, and I knew how to do everything, and I was like, but you have to know how to do it the way the clinical way, like how everything needs to be done.
But did those techniques work, like the index cards and like the flashcards and the?
It
Yeah,
really did. Um, but I studied more in my adult life than I ever did in high school, which
and
is
then
pretty
in your,
much probably a shame because I probably should have tried harder.
you're not alone. I mean, I goofed off in high school and had to play double catch up in the college days too. So
And
you know how that
so, do you
goes.
have a college degree
No,
right now?
no, I'm a college dropout. I
What
got.
was your major?
I was in animation, and then I went to business school too, but it was I got a scholarship for like a lot of money, like $60,000 a year, and then
What?
yeah, and that was a big deal. And I had to drop out because even that school was out of state in Savannah, Georgia. It was a private out of state college, and then there's no way I could have paid that off. So I was studying the business aspect of it. I was like, let me leave all the art kids and then just go back to work at the Piggly Wiggly with Clarence Shelley.
Oh
No,
no, not
I'm
my
sorry, dog. Okay,
God.
that came that
He
slipped.
still manages the
Yeah, I know.
IGA
Like
in
that kind of slipped out. My brother said that IGA stands for ignorant goddamn Americans. He made it up, not
No,
me. But yeah.
I did my stint in the grocery store on the stock crew, unloading trucks, stocking shelves,
At the
and if
pig or the.
everything, no, it was at IGA, and if everything could go back to being that simple, like you go in, the truck comes in, you break the truck down, you stock shelves, you clock out and go home.
I didn't know you did it too. Yeah, that's what we did. Like, yeah.
That was probably one of the most fulfilling jobs that I ever had because you went into work, you had a task, and when you completed the task, you were done at the end of the day.
That's actually one of my questions for you. It relates to what you just mentioned. So, but not work, but like you're into waking up at like
I
5 o'clock in the morning and cleaning your place.
usually around 4:30.
From what?
Usually around 4:30.
So you
I
wake
get
up.
up around 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning.
Yeah, but do you kind of zone out and just like deep clean the bathroom and everything? And
I get up and do what I have to do to go to work. Like I already have my lunch pre-made. I already have my breakfast pre-made. My clothes are in the bathroom when I go to take a shower. Then I like run the Roomba, or if I need to unload the dishwasher, like fold a load of clothes, I do that. Play with the cat. It's just, the morning time for me is where there's no distractions around. There's nothing else to make noise or detract from what you need to do. So I'm very much a morning person.
yeah, hell yeah. I mean, the you ever some of the stuff. What is that? The phone or?
Oh yeah, that my dad's calling me, but I'll call him back later.
Yeah. So do you ever like?
So what?
Will you listen to music or like? Do you ever clean the oven? That's a hard thing to clean. Like, the
No, okay. I think the top element is out of my oven, and it's actually my parents' oven because this is the house I grew up in, and my parents graciously moved out. So,
all right.
I don't even get into that endeavor because have you ever cleaned something so hard you accidentally broke it?
Yeah. It feels like a lot of work sometimes, but yeah, I'm into cleaning too. So sometimes we talk about cleaning. So there's
Oh,
there's people on
what are your
YouTube that
favorite cleaning products? Because my
uh
friends and I discuss this a lot.
I want to just mention like three things that are like a pain in the ass to clean. So the the fan, the ceiling fan that has
Oh
the
gosh.
dust on top of the damn, and then the Venetian blinds are probably better off throwing them away sometimes, and then the oven, and then those are three challenging things. It's more of like,
I can help
yeah,
you on the first two.
well, help me later, cause, but
I can help you
that,
on the first one. The ceiling
no, that's when I lived in Burbank. We had
yeah,
one of those with
on the
the
ceiling fan.
yeah, the stucco ceiling, and it had like there's nothing you can do to that popcorn ceiling with the damn the I
Oh,
mean
yes, you're preaching to
the
the choir.
yeah the dust on top of it. There's yeah, excuse my language. So yeah,
So the ceiling fan, you turn the ceiling fan off, and you take a pillowcase and you put it around the fan blade, and you just slide it back. So all the dust goes into the pillowcase on the ceiling fan blade.
do you
And
spray
that way,
anything? Do you spray anything into the pillow?
um, if it was like, I guess, a wooden blade fan, I would like spray like, like something equivalent to Pledge or like Pledge on it. If it's like a regular ceiling fan blade, you just get all the dust off of it, and then you go in with just like a wet cloth. But it does help because all the dust isn't falling down on the floor, and it's all
Yeah,
contained in the pillowcase. And then you take the pillowcase outside and you turn it inside out.
yeah, it makes sense. Sounds like that method would work next time. So something off subject, but have you heard of like Murray's? Was it Murphy's like wood oil, and then you can rub that on the oil, make it shine again. Murray's
It's Murphy's
was
wood oil soap, and I hate
yeah.
the smell of it
You don't like the smell of
because
it?
I have wood paneling in my house, and like my mom would like torture us with that. Like it just it's I don't know. The smell of it is off-putting to me.
Yeah, it does have a its own smell to it, but it makes the desk look better, like more less dull. So yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, it does. Put a little shine.
All right, my next question is like, so you into music? You went to go see some concerts around like a road trip, or you went to go see Bad Religion? I listened to them, but that was it.
Okay, so I'm not like first and foremost a disclaimer. I'm not trying to talk any junk about who I went to see the concert with. I had seen Bad Religion on their 30th anniversary tour at the House of Blues. I had this insane crush on Greg Graffin. I would ruin his family. I love a very smart, educated older man. So
But you wouldn't be
there
a
was
good
that.
addition to the family.
No, I would ruin his family.
Are you talking about like the home wrecking or?
Yeah, I would.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like I'd be Jezebel in that situation. And even now he's like halfway bald. All his hair is white, but I just want him to sit and like talk to me. So anyway, I had never seen Social Distortion live, and Mike Ness was just coming off of throat cancer, and they didn't know if he was going to be able to like headline, Social Distortion. And
Yeah.
my friend Thomas passed away. Like we always bonded like over Social Distortion. I resonate with Bad Religion and Social Distortion's music because it not only comes from like a place of playing music, but there's intelligence behind it.
Yeah, there's different aspects they're putting into it.
And don't get me wrong, I do like just nonsensical music. I do like people just screaming stuff and everything like that. But so I bought these tickets like 6 months in advance, and I was staying with some friends of mine, and the show started at 7, and so travel like 2 hours to get to their house, and And at 11 o'clock in the morning, like, everybody's going hard. And I'm like, no, I don't really want to drink. I really want to enjoy the show. So we get to the show, and we go through, like, Social Distortion, which I was really glad to see Social Distortion. It was, like, a first thing for me.
Yeah.
Very much enjoyed it. 3 songs into Bad Religion, like, they're calling me on my phone, like, so-and-so's too drunk to stand up. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, really, you guys? Like, this has been 6 months into planning, and I wasn't from the area, and they're like, we'll just Uber home, and you can call an Uber to, like, bring you back or whatever. And I'm part of the generation where, like, if you go to the show with somebody, you bring everybody back home. And I in good conscience, could not do that.
So, what happened?
I got 3 songs into the Bad Religion set, and there was, like, somebody with the people that I went with that was so drunk they couldn't even stand up. And they're like, oh, well, we need to go home. And I was like, it was like a crisis of conscience, because I did want to stay and finish the show out, but, yeah.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, I remember the picture, and then you waited to go see him. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Sorry to hear that.
I had seen the show before, so I did get to see Social Distortion, which they were absolutely fabulous. Mike Ness.
This is Myrtle Beach, or this is...
I'm really obsessed with bands that sound... No, it was Charleston.
Wait a minute. Hey, hold up. There's a house of...
South Carolina.
There's a House of Blues in Charleston now. Or it was already...
It's an open venue. It's called Firefly Distillery. And there's like a brewery, and they have like a big open field with a stage behind the facility. And they have got, like, I've been there several times. It's like top notch.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I remember the Music Farm. I remember that.
Never been to the Music Farm. I heard it's like a really small venue, and Lagwagon plays there like every so often. But I hate to drive. It's not like the buying tickets aspect or going to shows, as you are more concerned about how you're going to get there and get back.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, if you had like a friend that also listened to it and that would drive you, that'd be a different story then.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've seen some pretty good shows in the last couple of years. I wanted to go see Pearl Jam until I saw the price of the tickets.
Yeah, how much was it? That was like $1,000 or something, huh?
It was like $1,400, and Pearl Jam is anti-Ticketmaster, but you still have to go through a distributor. And so the show isn't until like April or May.
Yeah, I didn't even know that.
Tickets were like basic tickets, $1,400.
Yeah, I didn't even know that guy was still alive.
That I make in a month and a half, and I can't offset that cost.
Yeah, I didn't even know that guy was still alive.
Eddie Vedder's still alive. He's just fat.
Temple of the Dog.
Like the rest of us.
Have you seen Axl Rose? He turned into No, it's like no. It's you ever seen the episode of The Simpsons when Bart Simpson that shows like him as a rock star 20 years later, and he's like overweight, like yeah, y'all ready to party? And it like Axl Rose looks like that, like the real life version of.
I'm not so jaded that I don't expect people to like age, but there are some musicians that are like beating that horse until it's glued.
But Slash, I guess Slash looks good though. It's like what's it? But black don't crack, and then like Asian don't raise. Somebody said that. I didn't even hear that. Like
right?
No, it's in like Long Beach.
Money do it. I mean, it looks like we were fresh out of the womb.
Never heard that like expression
Oh
until
gosh, I
recently.
don't even.
No,
So
no.
like,
Speaking of
when
music,
you
though,
actually,
what was that? We're like talking at the same time.
it's just because we're excited. Go ahead.
So we were talking about music. So do you remember back in the good day? And then there's a show in Marion at the furniture store. And then my
I threw
friends,
that show.
you're the one that put on the show, right? Like,
Yeah, I threw the show.
and you didn't get credit for it because I remember hanging out with I went with my homies and then they played and it was a weird show, but it was really weird actually because we weren't at the Cootie Hut and here we are in
There were
Marion.
two. There were two that I didn't. I like. Well, it obviously it wasn't necessarily me. It was me and Crystal Smithy. Do you remember her?
Yeah, I think she was in my class and then yeah.
It was both of us, and that was just like the weird era where if you went to shows and you had like AOL and you were able to like network and you knew people from bands and it was cool to put on a show where you didn't have to drive to like Florence or like Myrtle Beach or like Sanford, North Carolina or like Charlotte to see a punk show. And we like I don't necessarily know if I can say we were friends with people now because usually friendships like last a while, but I'm still in touch with a good bit of people that were in the bands back then and stuff, and it was something to do.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it was fun. I mean, especially like Florence, like there's like a lot of people in Florence. They're just like we were so into music. We would be like ahead of our time with music sometimes.
Oh gosh, I could wax on for hours about bands that we heard about before they were on the radio, and I don't know, you just felt like I don't know, it was like you knew where your people were when you went to certain shows. And I know after like you went to California and you came back the first time, it was like you would pop up at like the weirdest places when I was feeling so anxious. Like I would see you at so many random places. Like you popped up at Uncle Doctor's and Columbia, and I was like, I don't know anybody in here. Like they were like hardcore kids, and I was like, I don't know anybody in here, and I was just like standing in the corner. I was like, oh my God, there's Malcolm.
I don't remember that at all. Like, how come you didn't come talk to me? Or I remember seeing you at the
Uncle
mall.
Doctor's was the converted golf course.
No,
like they had a golf course in the front, but
no,
like
I remember
the
I remember
they had they had a diamond plate stage, and nobody wanted to mosh next to the stage because you could get cut on like the diamond plate. But we've discussed about like how you don't remember like a lot of stuff, but I have a memory like an elephant, and I just remember like being there, and I was like, I don't know anybody, and like you walk in, and like all the chicks had like the Chelsea like hardcore haircut, like all their heads were shaved, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna have like stand in a corner, and then I saw you, and I was like, oh my God, Malcolm's here.
No, I remember the venue, but I don't remember talking to you at the at whatever show you're talking about. But I remember seeing you at the mall.
No,
Like,
no, you were there. I saw you at the Cootie Hut several times. Also, you're really not cashing in on your brand by calling this podcast Mr. Tyler's Neighborhood.
no, it's not Mr. Tyler's name. You know the name of the podcast is Los Angeles from.
Like,
What are you talking about? Or?
just know, I remember the Mr. Tyler's Neighborhood era where you would like bang on gas cans and you wore a Krispy Kreme donut paper hat.
Yeah, all that crazy stuff we did. Yeah.
And just like the Cootie Hut, always made me nervous because they had that one bathroom, and we would leave the Cootie Hut to drive to the Kangaroo to like use the bathroom because none of us drank. We were just like we're kids.
No, I remember that. Yeah,
and I remember this one band came out of the bathroom, and it was like all of them, and they were doing blow, and they had like all of it like caked around their noses, and it was like I had just got my driver's license, and I looked at all of my friends. I was like, I'm about to go to the house. Like this
That
is
does,
for me.
yeah, that's pretty bad. I didn't hear about that one, but you brought me back with that gas station because I forgot about that. But sometimes, yeah, when I go visit my mom, I always trip out on some stuff like, oh wow, that's not there anymore. Or look at that, and we don't have that in L.A. Like we don't have Waffle House here, and
Y'all don't have like any chain like late night restaurants.
yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of stuff like that. But I'll tell people like that, like Krispy Kreme and Chick-fil-A, that's from the South. Like I have to kind of educate people. I was like, that company's from the South, and they didn't come to L.A. until like late '90s or 2010. They had Chick-fil-A, and they had people.
Oh wow.
They had people protesting, and then here's somebody dressed up like a cow, and then here's a bunch of hipsters, and it's on like Hollywood and Sunset and Highland. But anyway,
No, I remember working with you at the mall at J.C. Penney's, and you don't remember that.
no, I do remember that. But the show that you mentioned, like I mean, don't get me wrong, I got a good memory too, but I don't remember that hardcore show where you were in the corner. But however, I do remember like J.C. Penney. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like literally. Yeah, I remember like I don't know. It's just like you've always popped up at like points in my life, and I'm like, oh my gosh, there's Malcolm, and you've always been super nice, and you've always been like, oh my gosh, it's Robin. Like you've always been like so super nice, and you do remember people. But I do remember seeing you play at the Cootie Hut, and it was Mr. Tyler's neighborhood. I do remember twice actually. I remember seeing Mr. Tyler's neighborhood. So
Thanks. Yeah, that stuff pissed a lot of people off, and we did that out here too, and we got kicked off stage once. Yeah, so we got like a lot of music stories, and it's good to be in the music scene, and it's good and bad. I mean, I was with the bad crowd at certain points, but it's pretty awesome to learn how to play that stuff and then get better at guitar, and good to randomly see you too at different jobs at the mall, and I do remember that. Like my stepmom worked at the mall, and then that was during like the Christmas time where actually funny story. I worked at JCPenney for the holidays, like seasonal, and then the job interview was the manager's name was Wilson Coward, and then the job interview was like, well, after Christmas, that you're not gonna have a job with us, right? And I told people. He said that out here, and they're like, "Oh my God!" They said that.
No, they do say that to you here. Like, they hire you for seasonal.
It's funny the way you said it, though. Like you don't talk like that out here. It'd be like more of a bullshit way of talking, like beating around the bush, But it was more, you ain't gonna have a job with us. Like,
what's your favorite job that you've ever had? That if you
come on, man.
Circumstances that you would have kept it.
It's a lot of suffering.
No, like
You talking about?
okay,
Yeah, I get no.
Like
The Armenian grocery store. I mean, like, not from my perspective, but some of the people that like I'm still cool with these people for like 15 years later. They said that was the best time in their lives. So like my quote at the end of the day is, "You always meet the best people in the shittiest places." So, like here we are.
I fully agree with you.
Yeah, that's
dude, I worked at a hospital one time, and the light, it was a smaller hospital, and the lights went out because there was like a really bad storm outside, and they're like, it's okay, the emergency generators are gonna kick on, and the emergency generators never came on, so you're like on the second floor of a building with 28 patients, and some of them are total care, and like, so you have no light, and so I'm at the nurse's station, and I look to my right, and they usually keep like the most problematic patients closer to the nurses station so the unit secretary can keep an eye on them. And I look over to my right, and there's like a patient shitting in a trash can. And I'm sitting there with one of the they call them transporters, which would be like orderlies. And he looks over at me, and I look over at him, and I can't do anything for him because at that point in time, I was not qualified to go into a patient room to engage in patient care.
What's the transporter orderly?
They get patients from one place to the other. Like if a patient on the floor needs to go to X-ray, like they wheel the beds and they push the wheelchairs. And I don't want to downplay that because they do a lot of stuff in patient care. And he looks at me and he goes, "Man, this is like an episode of The Outer Limits right now." And he was like, "I'm going to pick up as like in a hospital bed as an old man in a beard." Like it was really like I was like, you know, it was not the best hospital, and it's still not the best hospital, and I'm not throwing it out there because the employees did the best they could with what they had. But when the power goes out, like there was no power, like so there's red plug-ins on the wall where you would have to like hook up like feeding tubes.
Well, they weren't prepared for that
like
situation.
Life support, and none of it worked. But there should be preliminary measures intact where they test that. But no, I was like, oh my gosh. And I remember like coming home and telling my mom, like the first week I worked there, I would have dreams where I was in the ER and I would just go, stabilize me and send me somewhere else. Stabilize me and send me somewhere else.
Well, that sounds like it sucks when it gets to the point where your job goes into your dreams. It's too much.
Well, it was kind of like running a functional hospital inside of an outhouse.
Wait a minute, what hospital is it again?
No. Look, I don't have much the government can take from me, but I'm not throwing names out here.
Okay, so it was, let's just say it was a life experience or something that you went through.
That was actually a very life-changing year where you know.
What year?
I'm used to like working 40 hours, like you're guaranteed 2016 into 2017.
Okay.
I was used to having like a 40-hour a week paycheck, and when I interviewed, I was like, "Can you guarantee me 40 hours? That way, you know how much money you're making." And they're like, "Oh yeah. Second weekend, you're working a 5-day week, and they call you off like 3 days in a row, and they call it low census. We don't have enough patients here to justify you working." So at that point in time, my car payment for the month was like $350.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the month, you only made $240 because you kept calling off on like low census.
No.
And it was a turning point for me because I realized I never wanted to live like that again. Like, I never want to have to struggle like that again. And I'm sure for you, even working with Lyft, you know how many rides you have to get in X amount of time to make your bills.
Yeah, you kind of have to plan it out mentally, but something could happen too. Something can come up too, yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing how far you can make it in a month on an 18-pack of eggs and ramen noodles.
What?
I said,
that's what you do?
How far you can make it on 8.
No, I mean, I heard you, but
mean, you do the best you can with what you have.
Yeah, I like that. Keep on going strong.
Well, you didn't have like no internet at the time. I was like pirating internet from like my neighbors.
In 2017 or the?
Yeah, 2017. I was like pirating internet for my neighbors because I couldn't afford it. Yeah, for my sister-in-law, for my neighbors. Like when you run the washing machine, you're like stuffing everything in there because you're like, oh, I can't offset the water bill if I wash multiple loads of clothes.
Okay, getting creative with what you have and your measures and.
Well, yeah, I mean, you do the best you can with what you have, but I mean, you've been homeless before, so I can't.
Yeah, but that was only for 2 weeks though.
It was only for, but you are like couch surfing, Malcolm.
Yeah, that was more of a couch surfing thing. Like, yeah, there's a lot of stories.
Not after 2 weeks, you had your entire life together.
You know, we all have our ups and downs. Brings me to a question. You have a friend in Atlanta, right?
You're talking about the magnificent Leanne.
Yes, indeed.
Well, I have friends in Leanne, or in Atlanta. Leanne is in Atlanta, and Derek's in Atlanta.
Atlanta.
And I've actually known Derek longer than I've known Leanne, and I hooked them up inadvertently, and they got married.
No, I didn't know that, or I forgot, but I just want to ask you: Are you ever going to visit them, or are you open to? I mean, I know you don't like driving, but if they drove you, would you?
I hate driving. Like my sister-in-law would have to drive me. Like, no, I'm very up to it.
You would go if they took you, right? Like I want you to come. I want you to come out here, but.
To travel, I've never been on an airplane before, Malcolm, and you're making me sound like a bumpkin.
You know what? Like my boss at Amazon, I guess he's been in LA for forever or whatever, but he's never been on an airplane too. So I mean, you're not alone. I mean, people out here have never. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So it's not for. Yeah. Does that some consolation to you? You know what I mean? Like I would. No, I would call myself like a traveler.
Actually, it makes me feel better because in my mind, like everybody from California is like more worldly than I'll ever be, and they have so many more experiences. I'm not adverse to being on an airplane, but my biggest fear is like, you take off from whatever international airport, and like 30 minutes into the flight where I've just settled into not having a panic attack, they're like, we're experiencing some turbulence.
Oh, hell. I like you even did the voice too, like, oh, hello, passengers. We're experiencing some turbulence right now.
If everybody will sit tight, we'll get this corrected in a few minutes, and then and then I always like worry about like being sandwiched between like two people that won't shut.
I've been there before, and
stink.
It's not fun. Like, I was in between like two super fat people. Yeah, I mean, I got stories too, but yeah, you're right. It can be really tough to do. Yeah, because coming here, that's a good 5 hours too, and then you don't want to start out like that. Like, maybe like you never been on an airplane, you might want to start small. Go to the Florence airport and go to Charlotte, and actually that's like that's a funny looking airport.
That's like guilty a little. Because you can make it, if you have a good driver, and it depends on where you go in Charlotte, you can get there in like 2 hours. I don't know, like, I just feel like if I ever boarded an airplane, like, I'm going to end up as a statistic.
At least you weren't at what you were talking about earlier, New Year's night at the Marion.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, there was some intent behind that. So, hey.
What happened again, or there was some more behind the scenes?
I'll send you the link, but it said on the news that there was a chase that ensued outside of Marion city limits, and the car that they were pursuing was stolen with a person behind the wheel that had active warrants. And as soon as they hit inside of the city limits, the police backed off. So it was just like somebody that crashed a car.
Hell no.
It was next to yes, in Marion, which would be across from it wouldn't not Jonathan. What was the school that you went to that had the long ladder going up the side?
You mean that Christian school, the Morning Star?
Like 5th and 6th.
The what?
No.
Remember that
the
Morning
school on
Star
the street
Christian?
in-
Go ahead.
No, I feel like you were the only student at the Morning Star Christian Academy because I had never heard of it.
Well, other kids went, but like 11 kids went there. But what's the name of the
What was the school on Main Street in Marion that they turn it? It's like a gymnasium auditorium now that has the long. You remember it had like the long ladder going up the side of the building.
No.
It was before Jonathan was Jonathan.
Oh, I thought Jonathan had been there since the 70s or something.
No, the school you used to break into when you were a kid.
Oh yeah, no, that's my grandma's school. That's the Marion. That was that used to be the high school. That was the elementary school.
Yeah.
Like I went there in 6th grade. Like I went 5th and 6th grade.
Look at me jogging memories for you. No, that's where the crash happened at.
Okay, well that threw me off because you said the school. Like I thought you meant like outside of Marion, like went way down, like past the historic Main Street and past that. I didn't think you meant that one. My bad.
No, it was right there at historic Main Street. It didn't slide enough down to take out the magnolia tree they decorate as a Christmas tree every year, and then everybody pretends to be happy about it.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Malcolm, did you go to prom?
In Marion, we went to. It was the winter prom. Like winter time.
Oh, yeah, weren't you like homecoming king?
Yeah, no, that was in Florence though. West Florence. You still there?
So how was West Florence? What school did you?
How was West Florence for me? It was okay. I've already gone to 5 different high schools, and by the time I got there, like my dad told me to straighten up, but I was more of like, fuck the world, like fuck this, and the world's gonna come to an end. And then like that homecoming thing, that was more of we ran out. I just didn't care. So it was like my stand. I was going out like a soldier, huh?
So like. What made you like so fuck the world?
It was intense, yeah. It's my environment, like long story. So I mean, you go to 6 different high schools.
Well, I mean, we've talked like, back and forth. Like teenage angst is like the absolute worst. Like nobody understands you, blah blah blah. But I think that you were like one of the first kids that were on like medicine, and it just made you like the worst. Worst way.
No, that medicine was more of like that was later on in college. But where I'm coming from is like my parents, they didn't even like really raise me. It was more of like my music raised me. So then the way I was acting, I was like kind of like the music. It was so intense because we didn't care about school. So failed out of school, got kicked out of like 2 or 3 different schools. And then
I do have to say that from my extent of being in school with you, like, of course, you like me, everybody thought that you were weird, but you were never violent towards anybody. Like, I mean, nobody's going to say, like, Malcolm Tyler kicked my ass.
No, we had fights, though. Remember that kid Noto? We used to fight him, and... You remember him?
Honestly,
no,
I almost had to take a restraining order out on him because he would send me like these emails and stuff
on Facebook or like
as an adult.
Yeah, like
Malcolm.
Yeah, the guy's nuts. Yeah. It's a long story.
Like,
I mean,
why were you fighting kids?
I mean, you're kind of bringing me back, so it's a long story.
But no, I never saw you as like a violent person. You were always like very nice.
Well, I can see that. I mean, I was nice to you, but I was, agitated and I couldn't concentrate in class and it's made fun of. So then,
Well, the being made fun of was just
yeah, I mean,
the, the southern material you were made fun of.
well, there's another thing too. Like I think I relate people too because we're just talking like just being real and like they knew that like I wouldn't just like I wasn't out to like screw people over. Like I didn't lie to anybody. It was so we were.
But like you had people scared of you that had no reason to be scared of you.
So
Like how did that develop?
maybe that hyperactivity or there's a lot of energy and. But some of the stuff I was about, like a lot of people didn't have the balls to do, just like some of the stuff I would say in class, and then coming from LA too, like so. Then I went to high school in LA, and then it was just so fast paced. I went through more in like those 10 or 12 months, and like I got jumped by a gang member, and I got I was on the Jay Leno show, and then I was kicked out and put into a mental. Yeah, but then I was in a mental institution, and then after that I took a Greyhound bus back to West Florence. So then I brought all that back, that energy back to West Florence, and they didn't know where the hell I was coming from. So then the principal's like, "You do that again, I'll put you in." Huh?
Why were you in a mental institution? Did you just get too overwhelmed, or what?
No, they brought me in to talk to the guidance counselor, and then honestly, like I threatened to like hurt my stepdad, and I shouldn't have said that stuff. But then I'm talking to the wrong person too, the guidance counselor, and then they handcuffed me and put me into the mental institution, and then they did put me on medication at that point. So that was crazy.
I just feel like it was normal teen angst for you because you're not a violent person. I've known you. You're not a violent person. Like, everybody has their teenage rage. Oh, nobody understands me. I'm going to do things to be different, and nobody does this.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't out to hurt people, but it was, you go to school with a chip on your shoulder, and you get what you get sometimes. So, like, one time I cussed out the wrong person, and he happened to be in there.
No, I agree with that.
Yeah, like, so, like, actually, this is a funny story. Like, one time, my stepdad, like, I didn't like him, and then he was in the kitchen, and I pushed him against the wall in the morning before school, and then I go to school, and then I cuss out the wrong person at school. He happens to be in the Crips, and then he punched me, and then I guess I still have a scar, like, right here, and I went to the hospital that day. So, like, it's like you take your home environment into school. People at school, they had to deal with me. Like, I mean, everybody in Marion, everybody knows me, so it was more of like they had to, somehow they had, I mean, there's no getting around it. Like, Malcolm's going to go to school with you, like, and then small town too, so.
I knew who you were, but I was never scared of you as a person. I was like, that's just Malcolm. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that at that point in time, a lot of people were like, oh, that's just Robin. Because it anytime you're different from, I guess, like the Southern archetype, or however you want to pronounce it, it leads to, people thinking that you're going to be a certain type of way. And the whole thing when we were younger was like, oh, you're going to be devil worshiper.
That's the thing. Like, I would hear that term thrown around more back then. Like, oh, you worship the devil. And then, I hadn't heard that one in a while, actually. But yeah, hopefully you can relate to some of where I was coming from. I just like, I thought everybody was just like full of shit. Everybody that was telling me what to do, or like, go to school and go to college and whatever. And then I'm like, wow, nobody, I couldn't relate to any of adult figure because they were full of it, so. I mean, what do you want me to do? Be like the manager of the Piggly Wiggly? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
It was never
Go into real estate or something.
It was never like that for me. I was just like really like poor. So you got targeted for being different, and at the beginning, like I was kind of targeted for my family didn't have a lot of money, and
Kind of like
so
an
it
outcast or
went from
something.
like right. So it went from like you're being poor to like when you got to high school and you had like your own job, could buy your own clothes, and you were into your own thing. It went to being like, oh well, you're not getting presented at like the debutante ball, so like you're poor, but you're also weird, and if you're weird, you're like a devil worshiper. That was like
Oh,
the
okay.
douchebag.
That's kind
Like
of,
you
you had like
worship the devil.
a couple different aspects you're coming from with that. Yeah. I mean, being into music too, and um,
Well, just being into different things. Like I
yeah.
mean, there were like drama kids, and there were art kids, and there were like music kids, and then it really sucked. You like bullied 3 years in advance over something that kids were going to play on repeat on their like Discman CD cassette things that they plugged into the car. Like, do you remember like I remember Taking Back Sunday, I remember Slipknot, I remember Papa Roach. Were like we were all into those bands, and then like 4 years later when they became mainstream, like the same kids that were like trying to beat you up or call like you a devil worshiper over listening to a certain type of music, they were like, oh my god, have you heard this song?
I got a funny story. You know that band Crazy Town? When they
Yeah, oh gosh, Shifty Shellsock like died this past year.
Yeah, but remember, like when nobody ever heard it was in 1999, and it's before they made it big, so the cassette tapes were still relevant to like pass out a single of your cassette tape. So I was on Hollywood Boulevard, and
Right.
and then I met one of the guys from Crazy Town, and he gave me the tape, and I kept I hoarded it for years, whatever, and I was like, what is this? What's this about? Whatever, and he's like, yeah, why don't you take it home and check it out? And I know he was in that band, but it was before. Like now, it was cool to listen to him 2 years later or something.
Oh no, I
But
immediately stopped liking anything once it was cool.
yeah, I mean, like listen to it because you like it. But
Well,
hey,
do you remember
I'm sorry, I don't
Kitty?
know, I
Like
don't.
the all-female like band Kitty?
Yeah, like my friend's band played with them, the band Kitty. Yeah,
Yeah, like I don't know. It's just I don't know. You were jaded at like 17 because every time somebody jumped on the bandwagon, you had already heard about it a couple of years before, and it was like played out to you.
who, me or?
Just in general.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, stuff gets old. Like at one point, like we worshipped Nirvana, and then they got so old, like we didn't care about them anymore, and then like for me personally, I would go back to them and listen to them again. Stuff like the
Okay,
Korn.
what's the first CD you ever purchased? What's the first CD you ever purchased?
Offspring Smash CD was the first CD I've ever purchased. What about you?
Oasis.
My Wonderwall. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Who could forget them? Yeah. But
To be honest with you, I didn't know a lot about like music outside of what my parents listened to, which would have been country music. And I had a friend named Amber, and we would like spend the night, like have sleepovers and stuff. And she listened to the radio all night long, like the Casey Kasem, like top 40. We would like wake up to
damn,
that
like,
on Saturday.
hey, damn, hey, you guys are old, man.
Yeah. She really introduced me to a lot of like music that I'd never heard. But in turn, like 2 years later, when I started getting into music, and that was the mixtape era, and I really miss the mixtape era.
Thank
And
you
like
for
the
pointing. Thank you for mentioning.
Like, I miss that where you would discover stuff that your friends thought were cool, and you're not holding a cell phone in front of their face going, oh, God, listen to this song, and they're tuning out, where you give them like a CD or you give them a cassette tape, and you're like, oh my gosh, like, check this out. And that's how I got into like NoFX and the Guano Apes and just, Guar and all this stuff that I've never heard of.
Thanks for sharing. Yeah, I mean, it was I think it's a different paradigm, or what's the word? It's different. A different way it's presented to you, but it works a different way when you're getting into the music, rather than some bite-sized video.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, sorry though. I gotta cut us off before, like, I think the episode might cut off with the time, because I think we're at no, I think we're at like an hour and 21 minutes. So it's my longest.
Well, anytime you want to.
No, like, real quick. This is my longest episode.
I will gladly participate.
No, I appreciate your time, Robin.
Well, it's because we can't. We'll probably keep the.
Yeah, let's do it again. I had a couple more questions too, but next time. But yeah, we gotta close off the episode real quick before it cuts off. So yeah, thanks for joining me, and for everybody listening to Los Angeles Chronicles, first one of 2025. You heard Robin Ard. You heard she shared some of her story, and our history together in high school and whatnot. And I enjoyed it, man. It's like hearing like different aspects of where you're coming from. So yeah, so that's it for this one, and thank you everyone.